Hi everyone, Melissa B. Duarte here. Today we're going to tackle essential business English collocations. Collocations are words that naturally go together, and there are no rules with collocations. You just have to learn them. And collocations are paramount. Paramount means incredibly important or the most important in business English because they're used in almost every single conversation, in almost every single report, almost every single presentation. Collocations are essential. So I'm going to go through and break down collocations in different categories, different scenarios: decision making, time management, working with people, small talk. I'm going to break down these collocations in all different scenarios and situations, and there'll be lots of collocations in there for you to learn and work with. With these collocations, I'm going to teach you the collocations, give you a lot of examples. So you really want to train your ear to putting these words together because, again, there's no rules. And a lot of us are really busy. We don't have time to sit and write something 25 times to remember it. So I'm going to go through, give you lots of examples of each of these collocations. Of course, you can always go down into the comments of the video, and I will pin a PDF of all of these collocations which I'm using, so you can or upload it to your computer, or you can print it off and work with it and study it. However, at the end of this video, I am going to give you a little quiz with all these collocations. So make sure you watch to the very end. Quiz yourself, test your retention from the collocations which I've taught you, and any ones that are tricky you didn't get, then just rewind and work them again. Go back to the quiz and make sure you've got them all right, and keep watching until you get it 100%. And then you would have locked in those collocations, and you're one step ahead of many other English speakers who are learning English as their second language. Now, again, with collocations, they are tricky, they're not easy, and this is something that's difficult for even advanced level speakers. So if you're working in English, if you're doing business with different countries, working with global teams, if you're looking to emigrate, even passing a test to immigrate, collocations are going to be a big part of your learning. So let's make sure you know all these collocations. Let's jump right. Okay, here we go. We're looking at collocations used for meetings. In all aspects of meetings, we're going to look at collocations for meetings. Now, a collocation is words that naturally go together. So there's certain words in English that don't collocate, they don't go together, and there's words that always go together, they always collocate. And there's really no rules regarding collocations. You have to practice them, you have to hear them, you have to work with them, you have to see them in order to remember them. So again, when it comes to collocations, you're going to look at these and listen to these going, oh, that makes sense. Oh, that makes sense. But you have to remember the collocation. So when you're speaking, you have to make sure you're using the right words together. Otherwise, it really brings down your level of English. So let's jump right in and look at collocations for meetings. The very first one I have for you here is arrange a meeting. Arrange a meeting. Many students would make a mistake with this, and they would say, we need to do a meeting, or we need to fix a meeting. Sometimes fix can be used in really formal situations, as in set a meeting, as in set a time for a meeting, but quite uncommon. We need to arrange a meeting. We need to arrange a meeting. So it means to organize and set up a meeting. Now you can have a meeting and hold a meeting. Those are perfect collocations, different meaning. Arrange a meeting, you need to organize, you need to set up the meeting. I'll give you some examples here. So we need to arrange a meeting with the client next week. So we need to have a meeting with the client next week. Fine. But we need to arrange it before you can have it. So we need to arrange a meeting with the client next week. So arrange a meeting, you have to organize it, set it up, make sure everyone's available. And everyone is going to come to it. You have the boardroom booked and the time is set. That's what it is, arrange a meeting. Next one, she arranged a meeting with the HR team. So again, she realizes, okay, I need a meeting with the HR team. So now I'm going to arrange a meeting with the HR team. And then once the meeting is done, I held a meeting with the HR team. So there's different collocations that go for different parts of meetings, but this is just organizing it, and it is arrange a meeting. Again, we don't really say organize a meeting. It's not a collocation. It makes sense, right? I'm sure you understand organize a meeting. Not very common. Very few native speakers would ever say organize a meeting, arrange a meeting. They just don't collocate. Another example here, can you arrange a meeting for Friday morning? Which just means organize it. talk to people, book the rooms, book the times, book everyone who needs to be involved, arrange a meeting. Okay, next one here is hold a meeting. Now, hold a meeting means to conduct, have, or lead a meeting. Now, another word for leading a meeting is to chair a meeting. And to chair as a verb is you're like the chairman, so or a chairperson of the board. So to chair a meeting is you are in control of the meeting, you're managing the meeting, you're leading the meeting. So you can hold a meeting, and that means you're leading it, or you're conducting it, which just means it's happening and it's moving forward. So some examples here is the company holds weekly staff meetings. So the company conducts, has weekly staff meetings. But instead of saying, the company has a weekly staff meeting, we hold them, we conduct them. It means that we have them, but they happen. And so hold a meeting is a lot stronger there. Some common mistakes people have is make a meeting or do a meeting. Neither of those are correct. So it's always hold a meeting or have a meeting. Hold is a lot more beautiful business English. I wouldn't even say it's more formal. It's just better business English than have. Let's hold a meeting. Probably like in a more a situation where it's a bit more important. So if the meeting's quite an important meeting, you hold it. If it's a little small meeting about, I don't know, what lighting to have in the office, let's have a quick meeting. So if you have a meeting, it's a really short, it's not really an important meeting. If you hold a meeting, it's an important meeting. Doesn't have to be crazy important, but there's some important, and most meetings are important. Another one is we held a meeting to discuss the budget. Okay, so what's the budget? Oh, we have everything worked out in the budget. We held a meeting to discuss the budget last week. So it just means you conducted a meeting. Or I held a meeting last week. If I say I held a meeting or Paul held a meeting, it means they led the meeting or I led the meeting. So again, to hold a meeting could be either I'm leading the meeting, I'm holding it, I'm leading the meeting, or the meeting is just happening, and that's conduct a meeting. So there's two kind of meetings there as well. Or they're holding a meeting right now. So where are all the C-level directors? Oh, they're holding a meeting right now, which means they're having a meeting, but holding a meeting means it's that much more important. Okay, down to the next one is attend a meeting. So this means, this is pretty simple. I'm sure you know this, but for some Spanish speakers, or some Russian speakers or some German speakers, they can be some mistakes that I hear come up quite often. I just know these mistakes because these tend to be my students that I've been teaching for many years, so I know the mistakes that come up. Many people will say assist a meeting, and that's completely wrong. Or attend on a meeting. You're never on a meeting. You can be on a call, but never on a meeting. So very careful. You would not say assist a meeting in English, completely wrong. Attend a meeting. You would not attend on a meeting or be on a meeting, completely wrong. You attend a meeting or you're on a call, not on a meeting. So careful with those ones. This is hard. I mean, again, if someone says attend on a meeting or assist a meeting, okay, you're probably going to understand them. It's bad English and it really brings down your level. And if you're presenting yourself professionally, you need to have a higher level of English. So it's important to fix these collocations and practice them. Okay, so attend a meeting just means to be present at a meeting. That's it. And assist, careful for any Spanish or Portuguese speakers, assist means to help. So if you are assisting in a meeting, it means you're helping in a meeting. But assist a meeting, completely wrong. Okay, so but attend a meeting just means you're present, you're there. That's all it means. So she attended the meeting even though she was sick. That's it. So it's a big online meeting. I'm going to turn off my camera. I'm sick. I'm sorry, but I'm here, everyone. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I'm here. So you're going to attend the meeting even though you're sick. You're going to be present. Or all managers must attend the meeting tomorrow. So all managers must be present in the meeting tomorrow. Or he attended the meeting with the investors. Again, attended the meeting. Did you attend the meeting last week? No, I couldn't attend. I'm hoping to be able to attend the meeting next time when they meet next month. So attend the meeting just means to be present at a meeting. Okay, so those first three were pretty basic, pretty straightforward. I'm sure that wasn't too much of a challenge for you. But you want to make sure you know them and you get the collocation correct. Now these get a bit more difficult. So let's jump right into the next ones. Call a meeting. So Call a meeting, or to call a meeting, means you're going to decide a meeting has to exist. A meeting has to happen, usually because of some urgent requirement or some specific reason. So to call a meeting is you decide that I need to call a meeting about this, which means you decide a meeting has to happen. Or the manager called a meeting about the budget cuts. So the manager decided a meeting has to happen. Let me read you some examples here. The manager called a meeting to address the crisis. So maybe there's a crisis in the company. Sales have plummeted. Plummeted means like to go down, like opposite of skyrocket is plummet. Think of those divers that like dive really, really deep. They plummet. Or a skydiver plummets from the sky before they open their parachute. So plummet. So there's a crisis in the company. Sales have plummeted. The manager called a meeting. So he decided, or she decided, the meeting had to happen. That's what it means to call a meeting. Next one, they called a meeting of department heads yesterday. So department heads had to come together and discuss something important, but they called a meeting. For whatever reason, that meeting had to happen. So they, meaning the CEO, called a meeting for department heads yesterday. So the CEO decided, okay, everyone needs to get together. For whatever reason, something important needs to be discussed. So to decide that a meeting has to happen. And next one, we need to call a meeting to discuss the budget cuts. Okay, so those budget cuts have to happen. Let's call a meeting to decide where we can cut the budget, where we can reduce our spending. So that's where you say to call a meeting. A meeting has to happen. Some common mistakes is shout a meeting. And the thing is to call someone. If I see my buddy walking across the street, I can say, hey, Pedro. I can call to him. And that means like to speak loudly, to kind of shout at someone. So if you learned call as in shout, then you could make that mistake. But we do not shout a meeting. It's completely wrong in English. And invite a meeting is completely wrong. Either you call a meeting or you arrange a meeting. You don't invite a meeting. You can invite someone to a meeting, but first you have to call or arrange the meeting and then invite them afterwards. Okay, next one is kickoff. So to kick off a meeting, I mean, think of a goalie in football or soccer, depending on where you're from. And the goalie's got the ball in his hand and he's going to drop kick the ball, right? So he's going to take the ball from his hands, let go of the ball, hit it with his foot, and that ball's going to fly right down the grass, right down the football field. So to kick off a meeting means you're going to start a meeting with like lots of energy and a very engaging way. It's a little informal, but often in meetings you say, hey, let's kick off the meeting with a bunch of introductions. Let's kick off the meeting with hearing what's happening in finance this week. Let's kick off the meeting by going over everyone's weekend. So it's a kind of a nice way to kind of informally bring together some enthusiasm to start a meeting. I'll give you some examples here. The CEO kicked off the meeting with a motivational speech. Right. So the CEO is giving his annual speech. And instead of saying, thank you all for coming. Okay, this last year has been productive and efficient because of this, this, this. Well, that's boring. He's going to kick off the meeting. He's going to kick off with a motivational speech. Thank you all for coming. I had no idea that we would be at this point, this time, this year. I'm so proud of this company and everything we've done. Right? It's motivational. It makes everyone feel good. So to kick off the meeting with a motivational speech is you're starting the meeting with a lot of energy or an engaging way. Another one here, we kick off the meeting by sharing success stories. This is fantastic. So if you're coming together with global teams and you don't come together very often, and so you don't really know what's happening on this person's side of the world and this person's side of the world and that person's department or this person's branch. So if you have a meeting with people every 3 months, every 6 months, only once a year, not very often, you can kick off a meeting by sharing success stories. So what kind of success stories do you have from your department or your branch this year or the last 6 months? And it's great. So to kick off a meeting by sharing success stories, meaning you're going to start an engaging or energetic way. Last example here is he always kicks off the meetings with a positive tone. Okay, so no one wants to start a meeting with, hi everyone, thanks for coming. great to be here. No, no one wants to be in that meeting. So he always kicks off the meeting with a positive tone. Hi, everyone. Hope your guys' day is going really well. I'm looking forward to talking with you today about this. There you go. And so a positive tone makes the business world go around. It's fantastic. Okay, so a couple mistakes here. I mean, it's a kick off a meeting, not kick on, not kick in. It's kick off. Don't make a mistake with that preposition there. And again, start off the meeting with a kick. That's completely wrong. You can start off the meeting. Instead of saying kick off, a little bit less enthusiastic is start off. So we started off the meeting by sharing success stories. That just means we began the meeting talking about success stories. So start off is totally fine. It doesn't have the same enthusiasm or energy or engagement as kickoff. So some students could say, start off the meeting with a kick. Completely wrong. If you say start, you don't say kick. Okay, next one here is wrap up a meeting. So to wrap something up means to bring something to a close, to finish things. There's a summary or final remarks. So a wrap up or to wrap up a meeting. I mean, let's say I'm going to buy a pen for my colleague. I'm not going to give the pen to my colleague as a New Year's present. No, I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to use wrapping paper, beautiful paper, and I'm going to wrap it up and it's done. And now it's ready to go. So to wrap up a meeting really is that the final touches to make sure the meeting is ready to go and move on to the next thing. So to bring a meeting to a close with a summary, with questions or final remarks, this is wrap up the meeting. And you can say, listen, we're running out of time. We need to wrap up the meeting. Or to wrap up the meeting, I'm going to go over the key points. So I'll give you some examples here. Let's wrap up the meeting by reviewing key action points. Okay, so the meeting's almost done. You realize you have 5 minutes later. Okay, let's wrap up the meeting by reviewing key action points or action points. And that means you're going to summarize and finalize the meeting on that final note. So you know the meeting was not rushed. It was completed correctly. Just like you wouldn't give someone a pen for a present, you'd wrap it up. And then you know you're finishing your end of the gift before you give it to them in a perfect way. Next one, we wrapped up the meeting earlier than expected. So you go back to your desk and your colleague said, hey, I thought you were in meetings all morning. Oh yeah, no, we wrapped up the meetings earlier than expected. Just means we finished the meetings. And again, doesn't mean you just finished the meetings. You finished it perfectly. Everything was done. Nothing else needed to be done. Everything was done. So to wrap up really means you bring a meeting to a close with everything that needed to be included, a summary, final remarks, questions, answers, review, whatever it is, that meeting is done. It's wrapped up. There's a bow on top. It's good to go. She wrapped up the meeting with a thank you to the team. So someone's holding a meeting and thank you all for coming. And I really want, and then the very last remark of this meeting would be, I want to really acknowledge the work of this team over the last quarter. Thank you so much for your dedication and support to our company. Our success is your success, and we got here because of you. Well, isn't that beautiful? She finished the meeting beautifully. She wrapped up the meeting with a thank you to her team. So again, you don't want to say wrap off a meeting, it's wrap up, okay? Or not wrap it in a meeting. Again, these prepositions are tricky. So again, this is where collocations come in handy. You wrap up a meeting, not wrap off, not wrap on, wrap up a meeting. Or close the meeting. You don't close a meeting. To close a meeting is very different than wrap up a meeting. To close the meeting just means you're actually going to stop the meeting, and it doesn't mean it's finalized necessarily. So to close a meeting just means the meeting has stopped and you're not really saying why. It's not overly common to say close a meeting. So it's not wrong in English, it's just not commonly used, and it does not mean the same thing as a wrap up. Wrap up means you finalize it nicely. Now we have cut a meeting short. Cut a meeting short. So if you have 1 hour allocated for a meeting, but you've finished everything you need to talk about within 45 minutes, well, you can cut a meeting short. Okay, guys, we're finished. Nothing more to do. Any questions? No, fine. Okay, let's go. let's wrap this up and go. So to cut a meeting short just means you're not using the time you needed. You're ending a meeting earlier than needed. Or it could also be there's interruptions. So perhaps a fire alarm went off in the office building, or you had a power outage at home, or you're working from home and you get a call from your neighbor about, I don't know, someone hit your car in front of your apartment building. So then you have, sorry, I need to cut this meeting short. It just means I have to end earlier. Okay, I'll give you some examples here of cut a meeting short. So we had to cut the meeting short because of an emergency. So yeah, fine. So there's an emergency. A client's ready to cancel their contract. They're incredibly unhappy with the service. So you had a meeting dealing with budgets, but that meeting is going to have to wait. We talked for 20 minutes. We had an hour, but sorry, I have to cut this meeting short. I need to be in this meeting. So you're going to move to a different meeting. Or she cut the meeting short to catch a flight. So let's say you had a planned meeting every month and you meet with all of your sales team worldwide for 1 hour. And it's a 1 hour meeting you have monthly. But the VP of sales, she has to catch a flight. So she comes into the meeting saying, sorry, I have to cut the meeting short. I have to catch a flight. So I have to leave. I won't be here any longer. I have to cut the meeting short. Now, if you're cutting the meeting short, you are leading or heading or chairing the meeting. If you just have to leave the meeting and the meeting will continue without you, you wouldn't say cut the meeting short at all. Cut the meeting short means the meeting is ending. So if you are saying, listen, I have to cut the meeting short, it means you're controlling the meeting. Okay, so if you're just leaving the meeting and the meeting's continuing, you wouldn't say this. So the meeting does end at an earlier time than anticipated or expected. So sometimes students will make mistakes saying shorten a meeting. We can understand it, but it's not a collocation. You don't shorten a meeting, you cut a meeting short. Or stop the meeting short is incorrect. You can say, I need to stop the meeting, but it just means you're stopping it. Are you going to continue it? It doesn't say anything. But you cut a meeting short, then you're stopping it and at earlier time. So some people would say stop the meeting short. No, you cut the meeting short, not stop. Okay, on to the next one here. We have take the floor and give the floor. These are together. I'm putting them together for you. So to take the floor is to begin speaking. That's all it is. So if you have a meeting with 5 different people, maybe 5 different department heads, okay, who's going to start? Okay, I'll take the floor. My name's Julia and I work in marketing and I'm taking the floor, which means I'm going to begin discussing something during a meeting. That's all it means. You're speaking in a meeting. You're taking the floor. Now, if you do have a meeting with, let's say, 5 different department heads and, okay, who should start? Okay, let's give the floor to Paul. He had a difficult week last week. Paul, why don't you start? Paul, you have the floor. We gave you the floor. So Paul took the floor. He's speaking, or the chairman or whoever's leading the meeting gave the floor to Paul. So if you allow someone else to speak in a meeting, you give them the floor. If you start speaking, you take the floor. Okay, I'm going to give you some examples here. After the presentation, he took the floor to ask some questions. So there's a presentation, and it doesn't have to be take the floor physically. It could be in an online meeting, or it could be, of course, in the meeting room. So imagine you're in a meeting room, and there's a presentation, and it's just up on the whiteboard on the screen. So everyone's watched the presentation. Now, after the presentation, now someone's going to come in and they're going to take the floor. Okay, do you have any questions? I'm here. So someone else is going to start speaking and they're going to control what's being said. And that means take the floor. Or give the floor. I want to give the floor now to our financial director. So the meeting happened, the presentation happened during the meeting. Someone took the floor to say, okay, thank you for watching the presentation. Do you have any questions? Great, good. Okay, now you're done. I'm done speaking. Now I want to give the floor to our financial director. He's going to talk about what's happening next year in our department or with our forecasts. So I'm going to give the floor to someone else. It means you're allowing another participant to speak in a meeting. So take the floor, you're speaking. Give the floor, you allow someone else to speak. To give the floor, some people would say, pass the mic. A mic would be like a microphone. Not so common. I'll just give the floor to Paul to talk about what's happening in his department. I wouldn't really pass the mic. Or open the floor or offer the floor, completely wrong. I mean, people would understand this. Um, we wouldn't say this if we're giving someone else the opportunity to speak. You wouldn't say open the floor or offer the floor. It's very wrong. You could sometimes say open the floor if you want to open the meeting to every single person to discuss openly. So if you have a really small meeting, you can say, listen, I want to open the floor for questions and answers. That's fine. And it means you want everyone to contribute, not just one person, everyone. Not used very often because usually you want to have a meeting to be very organized and you don't want to have 8 people talking at the same time. So not very common, but you do hear it sometimes. Okay, and the very last one here is circulate the agenda. And the last one on this page is circulate the agenda. So the agenda of a meeting, everyone knows what the agenda of the meeting is. To circulate something means you're going to share it. That's all it means. You're going to send it out to people before the meeting. So to share the meeting plan, topics to be discussed with participants beforehand, before the meeting. So some examples, please circulate the agenda before the meeting. The secretary circulated the agenda via email. They circulated the agenda to all the attendees. Just means they distributed the agenda to people. But we say circulate is just very common collocation as opposed to send out or distribute. We say circulate. Some examples here would be send or circulate the program or send the program. The program is not used for meetings. A program would be for events, not for meetings. So that would be an agenda, not a program. So the mistake here people often make is saying program instead of agenda. Okay, we've got 3 more to go, and then I'll go through the quiz as promised to make sure you've locked in learning and remember these collocations for meetings. Okay, this one here is great. It's stick to the agenda. So again, stick. I think this is the 4th time I use the same post-it note in all these videos. To stick to something means to adhere to something, to stay with it. So stick to the agenda means follow the planned topics. Don't go off topic. So this is really, really, really common. So you can say in a meeting, if someone's kind of going off the agenda, you can say, sorry, we have to stick to the agenda. Otherwise, we will not finish on time. So stick to the agenda, incredibly important collocation. A lot of students do make a mistake saying follow the agenda or follow the program. Again, program has a totally different meaning in business English than agenda. Program is more for events. So you want to stick to the agenda and you don't say glue to the agenda. Or even stay to the agenda is incorrect as well. So stick to the agenda. I'll give you some examples here. He didn't stick to the agenda and wasted people's time. So let's say Bob is heading the meeting. There was an agenda, but Bob decided to talk about his fishing trip, and Bob decided to talk about issues he's had with, I don't know, his computer, and Bob decided to talk about what's happening for the next staff team building event. Well, none of that was on the agenda, so he wasted people's time. So Bob didn't stick to the agenda. People are frustrated. They can say, oh gosh, Bob didn't stick to the agenda again. So by following the agenda, good thing, it means you're sticking to the agenda. Very important. And the meeting was very productive because we stuck to the agenda. So someone brings up an issue or a topic that's not in the agenda. Sorry, we'll have to circle back to that next time. Circle back means return to a topic. We need to stick to the agenda. So everyone appreciates the meeting was productive because we stuck to the agenda. It's a fantastic one. Okay, next one is to raise an issue. Raise an issue. Now, a lot of students have confusion between rise and raise. Okay, rise is R-I-S-E. I'm just spelling it for you in case you're listening to this and you're not watching the video. Raise is R-A-I-S-E. Now, a quick little difference in meaning. The sun rises, okay? And I raise my hand. So to raise means there's a human element. Someone is raising something, okay? So my pen cannot rise. I'm not magic, but I can raise my pen. I can lift it up. Okay, so here it's to raise something, to raise an issue, which means you're going to bring up introduce a problem, a concern, or a topic for discussion. In business English, we want to avoid words like problem, so we say issue. And we even, I mean, you can say concern, but concern is still negative. Problem is still negative. Issue is not at all negative. It means the same thing. But to bring up an issue is to raise an issue. Okay, so let's take a look. She raised an issue about the new policy. So there was a problem that she needed to discuss. So she raised the issue during the meeting, or the manager raised the issue of overtime pay. So maybe a lot of people have been coming to the manager saying, listen, we're not getting paid for overtime. And the manager's kind of hearing the staff talking about people not being happy about paying, or not being paid for overtime. So in the meeting, the manager raised the issue of overtime pay. So they introduced this concern that staff had. So again, an issue could be a concern, it could be a problem, it could be a topic that needs to be discussed. Or he raised an important issue regarding deadlines. So if you're in a meeting and someone says something, you're like, wow, that's really important. You raised a very important issue. So to raise an important issue means it's something that maybe it was not on the agenda, and you don't want to do that too much, but it wasn't on the agenda, but this is a really important topic that needs discussing, that needs to be discussed. Again, careful, it's not rise an issue. I have to have that A in there, raise an issue. A lot of students make that mistake. Okay, and the very last one we have is productive meeting. Now, this seems straightforward. Of course, you've heard productive meeting. That was a productive meeting. We need to have a productive meeting. All these meetings are very productive. Productive meeting, fine. A lot of students make a mistake saying efficient meeting, and that is incorrect. Efficient is not right. It's a productive meeting. Okay, so a productive meeting, it means the meeting achieved its results. You went into the meeting with things you had to come out of the meeting with, and you came out of the meeting with all of the things you went in there for. So that's what a productive meeting is. Okay, give you some examples here. It was a productive meeting with clear outcomes. So fine, you're sitting in a meeting for 3 hours, but you know what? We did it. We did it. You felt like the time was well spent. You got through what you needed to get through, and that meeting was the best thing. I mean, any meeting that's productive is the ideal meeting, really. Next one, the team had a productive meeting and solved the problems. So again, if you're meeting with people and you're wrapping up the meeting, you can say, this has been a really productive meeting. Thanks, everyone. And so you're saying, yeah, we did what we needed to do in this meeting, because not all meetings are productive at all, right? Some meetings are just you're just sharing ideas, or you're sharing concerns, or you're not really tackling issues. Tackling means dealing with issues. So if a meeting was productive, say, this has been a really productive meeting. Thanks everyone for your productive input. This has been a productive meeting. Productive is a fantastic word in business. Throw that around as much as possible where it is relevant, because it is very, very, very useful. It's upbeat and it's wonderful. Another example here is that was the most productive meeting this month. So you've had many, many meetings in the month, and a lot of meetings are longer than they should be. They feel like a waste of time. And when you do have a meeting that is productive, that every single moment was like, yes, 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 I need to be here. This is good. This is useful. This is helpful. I know what to take away from this. This is going to start change. This is going to really kick off whatever project we're working on next. You can say, this was the most productive meeting we've had this month. This is a very productive meeting. It's fantastic. Now we're going to go and do a quiz. What I'm going to do is I'm going to read you a sentence, and I'm going to take out one word of the collocation. You need to guess what word goes in there to complete the collocation. For those of you who are listening, of course, I will tell you the answer. And if you're watching along with the video, then great, I'll pop the answer up on the screen after I say it, or when I say it. Okay, let's go down below. The first one is, we need to a meeting with the new client before Friday. We need to a meeting with the new client before Friday. So we need to organize a meeting. What's a synonym for organize a meeting? And we don't tend to say organize a meeting very much. We need to arrange. We need to arrange a meeting with the new client before Friday. Okay, next one. The company will a meeting tomorrow to discuss budget cuts. The company will a meeting tomorrow to discuss budget cuts. So to have a meeting, but more professional than have a meeting, is the company will, starts with an H, hold a meeting tomorrow to discuss budget cuts. The company will hold a meeting tomorrow to discuss budget cuts. Okay, hold a meeting. Next one here, all managers are required to the meeting at 10 a.m. sharp. And when we say 10 a.m. sharp, it means exactly at 10 a.m., like not 10:01, not acceptable. You have to be exactly 10 a.m. We say on the dot or sharp. Anyways, I'll read it again for you. All managers are required to the meeting at 10 a.m. sharp. So to be in the meeting, to be participating in the meeting, all managers are required to attend the meeting at 10 a.m. sharp. Okay, next one. The CEO decided to a meeting immediately after the crisis. The CEO decided to a meeting immediately after the crisis. So this means you decide a meeting has to happen. A meeting. Do you remember the word that goes there? The CEO decided to call a meeting. That's when you decide a meeting has to happen. The CEO decided to call a meeting immediately after the crisis. Okay, next one. The HR manager will off the meeting with a short introduction. Listen for the preposition there, off the meeting. The HR director will off the meeting with a short introduction. That off should give you a clue. The HR director will start the meeting productively with lots of energy and enthusiasm. The HR director will kick off the meeting with a short introduction. So kick off the meeting. Very good. And it's that off that's going to help you know that kick goes there. Okay, next one. Let's up the meeting by reviewing the action points. Again, your preposition up is going to help you. Let's up the meeting by reviewing the action points. So let's finish the meeting perfectly. Let's finish the meeting as if it's a package ready to go. Everything's done. There's nothing else that needs to be done. Let's up the meeting by reviewing the action points. Wrap up. Let's wrap up the meeting by reviewing the action points. Wrap up. Okay, next one. Due to the fire alarm, we had to the meeting short. Due to the fire alarm, we had to the meeting short. Due to the fire alarm, we had to cut the meeting short. Due to the fire alarm, we had to cut the meeting short. Next one here is, I'd like to the floor to our guest speaker from New York. I'd like to the floor to our guest speaker from New York. So I want to allow our guest speaker from New York to talk now. I want to the floor to our guest speaker from New York. I want to give the floor to our guest speaker from New York. Give the floor. Okay, next one. Please the agenda at least 24 hours before the meeting. Please the agenda at least 24 hours before the meeting. So please distribute, send out, but what's more common? What's the collocation? Please circulate the agenda at least 24 hours before the meeting. Okay, next one. We must to the agenda if we want to finish on time. We want to the agenda if we want to finish on time. We want to stay to the agenda, but that's not correct collocation. That's not correct business English. We want to the agenda, which means stay on topic, but we don't say stay to the agenda. We must stick to the agenda. Stick, like a Post-it note, sticking to my hand. We want to stick to the agenda if we want to finish on time. Okay, next one. She decided to an issue about the new overtime policy. She decided to an issue about the new overtime policy. So she wanted to talk about an issue, but she introduced an issue, a problem, or a concern. So what verb do we use with that? That was one of the last ones I had there. She decided to bring up, raise an issue. She decided to raise an issue about the new overtime policy. Okay, next one. Yesterday's workshop was the most meeting we've had this year. Positive. Yesterday's workshop was the most meeting we've had this year. A fantastic meeting. We did everything we wanted to do and more, and no time was wasted. It was a productive meeting. Yesterday's workshop was the most productive meeting we've had this year. Okay, 3 more to go. She agreed to a meeting with the HR department on Monday. She agreed to a meeting with the HR department on Monday. So organize, set, no, arrange. That's a repeat, but just to make sure you know, arrange a meeting. She agreed to arrange a meeting with the HR department on Monday. How did you do? I hope you did well. Let me know in the comments how you did on this little quiz. And again, anything you got wrong, no problem. Just go back, listen to it again, come back here and keep testing your learning. Thank you so much for joining me for this video on collocations. If you did enjoy this video, I encourage you to like the video and subscribe to my channel. And let me know in the comments if you have any questions. I really do love getting comments because I can kind of teach you and I can share all my knowledge with you guys. So if you have any questions about different collocations or other parts of English collocation or business English you want me to cover, let me know in the comments and I'll do a video on it. I'm here for you guys. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you.